So thank you for attending this information session today. We're going to be talking about the Master of Science in Applied Geosciences program, which, as we will discuss as we go through this, is not just a master's degree, but also offers additional graduate options such as certificates and course-taking options. So I don't think there's much in the chat right now, so we're going to skip past that. But as people come in, if they want to introduce themselves in the chat, we can come back to that later. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the MSAG program kind of generally, and then get into some of the details of the different things that we offer. And so the MSAG program is almost 20 years old. It began in 2005, and so we have our 20th anniversary coming up next year. And of those almost 20 years of the program, we have a strong alumni network. So more than 175 people have graduated from the program during that time. The program has a few different focus areas. So we think a lot about environmental geology, engineering geology, and hydrogeology. Okay, and so there are definitely courses that kind of go a little bit outside those areas, but those are our three big focus areas for the program. We as a program are physically housed in the Department of Earth and Environmental Sciences, and that's the building that you can see pictured on this slide there, Hayden Hall. We're also part of the College of Liberal and Professional Studies. Both of these sit within the School of Arts and Sciences at Penn. I said the program began in 2005. We used to be an in-person program, and we moved to become a fully online program in the fall of 2022 in response to a changing need that we were seeing from the geoscience community. People wanted more options to take classes online, to pursue a degree part-time, perhaps without having to leave their current profession. And so in response to that, the decision was made to move our program fully online, and we are now a fully online program, as I said, with a number of different degree and program offerings. Since we moved online, we've been kind of steadily building the program back up. We currently have 18 students enrolled, 17 of those are part-time and only one is full-time. So again, really addressing that need that we saw for people that wanted to come to graduate school in a part-time manner and be able to do that remotely while keeping their job. And one advantage of our small program is then the class sizes are also pretty small. And so on average, you might see 8 to 10 students in your class, which gives a lot of time for direct engagement with the instructor. And so I mentioned that we are a professional program. And as such, our primary goal is providing you with the skills and the knowledge that you need to get you into the workplace in your desired profession, or maybe to obtain a promotion that you're desiring in your current role. And as such, we really prioritize your connection with industry professionals throughout the program. You can see on the right here, these are just some images that I took from our webpage of some of our faculty. There's a little bit of updating needed here. 1 or 2 people have retired, and we're actually bringing in 3 new instructors this fall. And so in the spring rather, and so we need to get their pictures added to our webpage. But all of these people have teaching experience and a teaching background, but most of them are also practitioners out in their respective fields. And so people are working for engineering firms, working for the EPA, etc., working for FEMA or whoever it might be. And most of these experienced practitioners either have their PG or their PE. And so we connect you with those people throughout the program, both through your classes, but also through other professional development opportunities that we provide. As a professional program, I mentioned our goal is really getting you into the workplace or helping you to get that promotion and next step on the career ladder. But a small number of our students do go on to do a PhD. We actually had a student graduate last year who stayed here at Penn and is pursuing a PhD in engineering. So it's not excluded from this program, and we definitely would support you if that was the way that you wanted to go. So what advantages might there be to studying at Penn online? Okay, we can talk about lots of advantages of coming to campus, but what are the advantages of getting to study in an online program through Penn? Well, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of flexibility to complete your courses while you are still working. Still keeping your job, maybe you reduce your hours slightly, maybe you just fit your courses around your current workload. But you don't have to come to campus, and so there's that flexibility to be anywhere that you choose. So the courses are asynchronous. And they are delivered via Canvas, which is our online learning system. And all of our instructors do provide live office hours as well. So I put a screenshot on here of from Michelle Adams' course. She runs a course in the summer about water resources. And so when these courses are delivered through Canvas, you'll get a lot of videos from the instructor, as shown here, a lot of discussion boards, online discussions where you'll be engaging with your fellow classmates, a lot of interactive assignments. A lot of the instructors have gone and recorded videos in the lab or the field to kind of bring you into those environments. And so we really try to harness the advantages of offering a course in an online learning platform. And so the courses are asynchronous. There's not a required meeting time each week. But the courses are not self-paced. We do expect you to keep up with the kind of weekly tasks and weekly assignments that the instructors are setting. But whether you do that work kind of on a Tuesday or Wednesday evening after you finish your job, whether you do most of it on the weekend or how you fit it into your week is really up to you. And as I said, all of our instructors will also offer live office hours for you to meet and engage with them. When you first come into the program, you will be assigned an academic advisor who would guide you through your degree program or the certificate if that is one of the options that you choose. We have two current academic advisors, Tony Souder and Mitch Cron, and you can read a little bit more about both of them on our website. And so, as I said, there's no requirement to come to campus, but there are optional visits, and they include our field courses, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a moment. They include our graduate research conference, which happens at the end of March, beginning of April every year. And this is where students from this program and our Masters of Environmental Studies program come together to present their capstone research. So these are students that are graduating that year, and we have a large poster presentation session and a keynote speaker. And I'll talk a little bit more about the capstone research in a moment. And of course, you can come to campus for graduation. And so what options are provided within the Applied Geoscience program? I mentioned that it's more than just the master's degree now. So we do provide that Master of Science in Applied Geosciences. We also now provide two options for graduate certificates, and we provide a course taking option. So I'm just going to spend a bit of time to go through in a little more detail what each of those are. So firstly, thinking about the full MSAG degree and what that looks like. So the online degree requires 12 course units. If you come to Penn, you'll hear the term CU or course units used a lot. Of those 12 course units, 9 are required courses to really deepen your knowledge in core and applied topics. And then we have 3 electives that you can choose from. So on the right here, I've given you a list of our current required courses. We've made some recent changes to this list, and one of those changes is to incorporate the field course. Now, if you already have a field course from your undergrad or other experience, that can be replaced with an elective, but we want to make sure that everyone that comes through our program does have some field experience. And so if you don't have that previously, then we do ask that you take one of our field courses. The other courses on there, the names should be fairly self-explanatory. Project design is the prep course for our project design or capstone thesis. And again, I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. So there's also the option to take 3 elective courses that allow you to choose areas where you can develop scientific expertise. You know, this is kind of how do you want to signal to a future employer or your current employer where your specific area of expertise are. And so listed here are some examples of those elective courses. You can see the 2 field courses on this list as well. So we offer a field study of soils and a field methods in geology course. And in addition to the course requirements, the degree also requires a capstone thesis. As I mentioned, we have one of our required courses as a prep course that helps you in developing your proposal and your ideas for this thesis. The idea is that this is an applied research project that will allow you to highlight the skills and knowledge that you've gained in the program, and will maybe provide you an opportunity to develop certain skills that you really want to hone. As you're thinking about what you might do for this capstone, we really encourage students to consider their career goals. Where do you want to get? What is that promotion you're aiming for at work? What is that new job you want to apply for? What are the skills and key competencies that they're going to be asking for in that job? How can this project help you demonstrate those? You can work with a current or potential employer, and a lot of our students have done that. Either working with someone from their current place of employment, or maybe completing an internship, or thinking about someone they might want to work with down the line and finding someone from that industry to work with. If you don't go down that route, we also do provide readers and supervisors for the projects here at Penn. And generally, we do prefer an applied project over something theoretical. Doesn't mean we haven't had students do very successful theoretical projects, but our preference is always for something applied, because we think that really does help you longer term in your goals in getting into your desired workplace. So that's the capstone project for the full MSAG degree. So I mentioned that we also offer graduate certificates. So graduate certificates, it's a slightly different application. I'll go to the website a little bit later and we'll look at all the requirements for that, but you do apply specifically to the certificate program. We currently offer 2 certificates. One is a graduate certificate in engineering geology. The other is one in environmental hydrogeology. And you can see the list of courses there that satisfy those certificate requirements. You have to take 4 courses from the list provided. So you can choose any 4 on those lists to satisfy those certificate requirements. If you complete the certificate and think, this has been great, I actually think I really want to do the full degree, you can roll those 4 courses into the full degree. So all 4 courses can transfer, and then you would have another 8 courses to complete for the full degree. So those are our current certificate options. And then we also offer a course taking option. So maybe you're not even quite ready to commit to the certificate. You have an interest in developing an expertise in a specific area, maybe one that's not completely represented by our certificates. For that, you can enroll in individual online courses. Okay, so you can choose from any of the courses that you've seen on the lists here so far. The full list offered to the MSAG degree, both required and elective. And you can enroll up to 3 courses per semester, and you can enroll in up to 4 courses total before you would then be required to either move into one of the certificate options or the full degree. And as I mentioned, you can choose from all courses available in our program. Again, if you decide that you want to pursue maybe one of the certificates or a full degree, you can transfer some of those courses into that. So 4 course units can be transferred into the full degree, and 2 course units can be transferred into one of the certificates. So a range of options depending on kind of where you're at in your career, what expertise and what knowledge you need to develop, and what level of commitment you want to provide at this stage. So I'm now going to talk a little more generally about some of the other options available through the MSAG program outside of our curriculum. As we're going through, if you have questions, please put those in the Q&A or the chat. Ross, our administrative coordinator, is here and will respond to some of those, or we'll have time at the end to do a bit of Q&A. So please do write those questions down as we're going through, and we'll have some time at the end dedicated to addressing those. So I mentioned we're a professional program, and so it's only fitting that we provide a number of professional development opportunities. Now, many of our students are in the workplace. They're already working while completing their degree, and so they're getting a lot of professional development through that environment too, but we want to make sure we're providing you with opportunities here through the program. One of the ways we do this is through the field course that we offer. The Field Methods in Geology, taught by Mitch Cron, pictured here, is actually approved by the state to qualify for the Fundamentals of Geology exam. We also have a strong alumni network. I mentioned that we have more than 175 grads from the program. Most of those people are part of a LinkedIn group that we have that we would connect you with. And often people post jobs on there or internship opportunities, or it's just a great way to connect with people. And we're also trying to kind of think through some ideas for other ways you can connect with our alumni, particularly in this online environment. The Association of Environmental and Engineering Geologists, the AEG, has a student chapter, which we really encourage students in our program to join. They have regular meetings. There's also the opportunity to present posters or oral presentations at their annual meetings. And they also provide a lot of support for students. A number of grants each year are given out to students to help with their research work. So definitely a valuable and worthwhile thing to join. There are a number of organizations at Penn that you can also connect with. Even though you're an online student, some of these organizations have opportunities and ways for you to connect with them online. One example of that is the Water Center at Penn, who offer research opportunities, internship opportunities, and I know in the past they've been very open to our online students applying for those and pursuing those opportunities with them. This is also one of the centers at Penn that some of our students have done their capstone research with. They have a great careers-focused kind of conference each year. It happened just last week, actually, and our students are also invited to that. There are a number of other centres at Penn that I could list here, and some of those are mentioned on our website, but do encourage you to reach out to those. A few places might only offer in-person options, but a lot of these centres are very willing to work with our online students and offer opportunities to them as well. And new for 2025, we're going to kick this up in January, is going to be our Lunch and Learn series. We're hoping for once a month to be able to do this. A lot of you might be familiar with that term, particularly if you're already in the workplace, but this will be a once a month kind of hour-ish long lunchtime online webinar where we will have someone come, usually an industry professional, come and share something, maybe just for 30 minutes or so, share something very practical. Share a skill or a tool that you can develop and use. And we want these to be opportunities where you can come, listen to someone kind of talk or work through some practical exercises for 30 minutes and leave with a new skill or leave with a new tool that you can then take into your workplace that very same day. We're also going to use these as an opportunity to connect with each other. Sometimes in this online space, it can feel kind of a bit lonely. And so we want to make sure that we're providing opportunities for our students to get together. And this is one of the ways that we're going to try and do that. And so then moving on to think a little bit about career opportunities. This list on the right here is just an example of some of the places that our graduate students have gone on to work. It is by no means completely extensive. It's just based on a lot of the common places that our alumni have gone over the last 5 to 10 years. But throughout the program, we will support you, as I've said, connections with industry and industry partners as much as we can, connecting you with our alumni. And Ross actually sends out a weekly email to all of our students where if we hear of any job opportunities, internship opportunities, professional development, or networking opportunities, they will be advertised there. And so that's our sort of weekly communication to you to keep you abreast of all of these ideas and opportunities. Penn also has an excellent career service, and while as an online student you won't be able to access their in-person career services, they have a wealth of information online. They have a dedicated master's branch of their career service, and that's what the web link there leads you to. And as I mentioned, there's a number of different resources on their website, and they have a number of different kind of little modules you can work through, videos you can watch, particularly when thinking about applying to jobs and kind of polishing your resume, prepping for interviews, all of those things. So that's also something we encourage you to take advantage of. They also have some online programs such as Handshake that you can sign up for, which is one way that jobs get advertised as well. And then, as I mentioned previously, there's also the opportunity to connect your capstone with some kind of research or internship experience and use that as part of your career development. And so before I stop talking here and hand it over to your questions, I want to talk a little bit about the application process. Okay, if you're interested in the program, whether that be the full degree, a certificate, or course taking, what does the application look like? And so I'm just going to go to our website here. Just give me a moment while I switch my screen sharing and pull that up. Okay, hopefully you're now all seeing our MSAG website. And I'm on the application page here. So you can see on the menu on the left, there's the option to go to application deadlines and requirements. Above that, you can see a breakdown of information about the degree program, certificate, and course taking options as we've been through in this presentation. But just I want to point out a few things on this application page. Firstly, the deadlines, those are always important. If you're thinking of applying for our spring intake, the deadline is December 1st. For the fall, it's not until July 1st next year. If you're wanting to apply to the certificate or the course taking options, the deadlines are the same for now. This talks a little bit about who would be eligible to apply, thinking about the background that our students come with. Typically, we would expect some kind of science background, but that might be in geology, engineering, chemistry, environmental science, and I'm sure you can think of more physics, other options that could be in there. And as I said, a lot of people come to us after they've been working for a little bit of time. In terms of the application requirements, there's a list of things that you need to include in your application here and an explanation of each of those. If you hit the little drop-down menu, it tells you what needs to be included in that part. So there's your resume, these essay questions that we ask you to answer. And again, those are split differently for if you're applying to the full degree versus the certificate and the courses. Transcripts, test scores, letters of recommendation. If you are outside the US, you will need to get your transcripts converted by WES, the World Educational Service, so do leave time for that. And if English is not your first language, you will also need to provide a TOEFL or IELTS score. So again, just making sure you leave time to get those done. So do take time to peruse the application page and make sure you're kind of up to speed on all the requirements. And if you have any questions, please do reach out to us about that. And that takes me back to then the final slide of my presentation here. Oops, 1 second. See if I can go back to the presentation. Okay. 1 moment, let's just try sharing again. Okay, I think we're back on the presentation now. So my final slide here, thinking about any questions you might have. I think I actually failed to mention at the beginning what my role is here, so I apologize for not providing that introduction. I'm the Program Director for MSAG, and my email address is here. I also mentioned Ross, our Administrative Coordinator, is on this webinar. His email address is here. And at the bottom of any page on our website, you should see this information. So again, it reminds you of what the upcoming deadline is. You made it for our virtual information session, so you've already done that. And we also have a monthly kind of virtual drop-in hour. So the first Thursday of every month, you can join Mitch Cron, one of our advisors, for an online chat. Anytime between noon and 1, you can drop in. If you're working through the application, you have some questions, I really encourage you to drop in and chat to Mitch about that. You can also use this button down here to send any questions in. Those would go through to Ross. And then, of course, as I said, feel free to reach out to us directly. So I will pause talking there and hand it over to any questions or comments that might have come through the chat. And please also feel free to turn your mic on and just ask questions that way.